Well, my name is Ayobami Olusa, and I am a wife of course, wife for 27 years and a mother to three beautiful children, 24 on her way to law school, 22. My son just started college and he is on the autism spectrum. And then 18, she graduates this year and she is on her way to college. So life has been full and meaningful because of my family. Apart from that, I love the Lord. I have been a believer most of my young adult life, and I just love the relationship that God chose to have with us, that He chose us way before to have a relationship with us. So that's a big part of who I am. And I also run my own Mary Kay business. It's a direct selling company, and I've done that now successfully for the past 14 years. My former life, I'm a registered nurse by profession, believe it or not. And, people ask all the time, why? Well, my son was diagnosed with autism 16 years ago. And I found myself juggling the lifestyle of being a nurse and not sleeping at night. And I realized that I was going to crash if I didn't make a life change. Now, was I looking for sales? Oh, no, I wasn't. My dad is is a professor, still living, and my mom was a teacher. So we weren't raised to be entrepreneurial or independent. All we heard our growing up life was to go to school and get a job. And doing that with raising my son just became, for me, impossible. And it scared me to think of, I saw other parents, no judgment, but personally, I saw other parents who had to make the choice between keeping their kids at home and putting their kid in an institution or in a group home. And that was not what I wanted. I didn't want any kind of success or anything that would separate me from my son. So right now, his name is Busayo, and I call him my live-in boyfriend, and we just do life together, and we have such a great time. So that's me in the nutshell. Oh my gosh, it's got to be my mother. Now, if I put up a picture of my mother and me, we look like twins, right? And they tell me all the time now I look like her, I dance like her, I talk like her, whatever. My husband tells me that, and my children tell me that. But my mother was a twin, and she, of course, grew up in Nigeria. And I, now she passed 5 years ago, and I can see how she loved the Lord. So she taught us from a very young age to trust God. And she was a fighter. She was spunky. She was the life of the party. She just would light up a room, and she was so animated. Now, I am like my father, that I'm more introverted and more quiet, and I don't like attention. My mom, oh Lord, she was the life of the party, and if she was in a room, you knew she was there. But she, taught me how to cook, how to run a home, how to, now as I'm growing up and I see other women, and sometimes women don't know how to cook and don't know how to run a home. And she taught us those little essential things, how to serve a balanced meal, making sure that we didn't just have growing up in Nigeria, we ate a lot of yam and rice, but we had to have a vegetable. You had to have a green. You had to have all of that. And she was one of my biggest cheerleader. I remember, having a pink Cadillac and picking her up, and she would like, oh my God, Bami, they're looking at the car. And I have something by my bed, and I love talking about her. I'm not going to cry. Okay. She believed in me, believed in my dream. And I remember, when she passed, finding in her rubble that we had to go through some things as that says, I knew you could do it. You did it. I knew you could do it. So that has kind of served as I feel like she's right now my angel. And and she taught us how to persevere. She beat cancer, had a lot of, health issues, and, made a decision to walk away from her relationship with my father after 40 years, not putting up with anything, but not to judge it, but just really was someone who knew her deserve level and was willing to stand for it, even if she stood alone. So that's my experience. She's right now my angel, and cheering me on, and I know she's a big part of who I am today. Okay, what supported my success was number one, my vision, and the kind of lifestyle that I wanted for my son. If you know anything about autism, it is very difficult to even explain what it is. I remember, I think he was diagnosed. Yeah, I was in my mid 30s, and I'm hearing definitions is like it's someone living but dead and living, hearing those things. And it's so, even till now, when my daughters or, and when people get frustrated with him, I'm like, I wish I could open up his brain and figure out how he thinks. So it became imperative that I was present in the moment, and able to cope with those changes. So one of my turning points was, I remember coming home from nursing one day, and my husband probably had to work, and we had no help at home, and I boarded up the living room, boarded it up so that he won't be able to get out. He was beyond hyper when he was little. I boarded everything up, and all I heard, I fell asleep because I work nights. I fell asleep and I heard a crash, and it was our entertainment center. And he, not only did that come down and crash, he had jumped the board, and I picked him up, real life story. And I realized that if I, in my fury, did something, I could hurt him. I put him down and I just cried. And all I would do would pray, like, there has got to be a better way, because I was losing my mind. I could not cope with the stress and the demands. I mean, when he was little, we had to lock him up to sleep at night, because we would wake up, he would be out the door in the winter without clothes and in the neighbor's pool. It was just crazy. So as I would pray and look, and my brilliant idea was go back to school, go back to school and become a medical doctor. But when he was diagnosed, that flew out the window. I was actually looking for schools and stuff like that. Okay, that's no longer an option, because if I can't even cope, how am I going to leave him for 8 years to, go to school? So my turning point was on the nursing job. I met a woman who was in this direct sales company that I'm a part of, Mary Kay, and she shared Mary Kay with me. And taking a look at it, I fell in love with three things: God first, family second, and career third. I felt like my other job took me a lot away from my core values. I couldn't worship most of the time. Yes, you can worship on your own, but I couldn't attend a service most of the time because I had to work. And second of all, I had to many times choose my work over my family when they would need me. So I needed to make some changes. And one of the changes I made was to become a mompreneur. As I call it, I just work from home, but I do work. And it has been life-changing. So I would say that's one of my major in my life. It would always be the day I discovered, why I'm here. So that's what I would, I'm not here not necessarily to do the business, but my life, I believe, should revolve around getting to know him as Lord, and serving the family, serving the children, my husband, and then fulfilling my calling to lift and give other women hope. And hope to me means helping other people evolve.